The sun was slowly rising over the lush green fields of John Thompson's ranch, painting the sky with shades of orange and gold. The morning silence was broken only by the chirping of birds and the soft sound of Thunder's hooves as he walked majestically through the pasture. John observed the horse with a mixture of admiration and curiosity. There was something different about this animal, something that went beyond its imposing appearance and athletic build. Thunder wasn't just a working horse, he was something more. Sarah, his wife, was preparing breakfast in the kitchen, occasionally glancing out the window. She still wasn't completely convinced of John's decision to bring that horse to the ranch. "Dad, can I give Thunder some water?" asked Emily, their oldest daughter, entering the kitchen with her eyes shining with excitement. "Of course, sweetie," John replied, exchanging a knowing smile with the girl. Michael, the youngest son, was already in the pasture, observing Thunder, with a mixture of fascination and respect. The horse seemed aware of every movement around him, always alert, always attentive. Bill, the former owner, had made it clear that Thunder was no ordinary horse. Trained for police operations, the animal had a sensitivity and intelligence that went far beyond what was expected of a horse. That morning, something lingered in the air. A different kind of silence, almost an expectation. Thunder, constantly, moved his ears as if he were picking up sounds that no one else could hear. John approached the horse, stroking its neck. "What are you feeling, buddy?" Thunder whinnied softly, his eyes scanning the ranch's horizon. Something was about to happen, and only he seemed to know what. The Thompson family had no idea that their life was about to change forever. The following week passed with an imperceptible tension. Thunder continued to display peculiar behavior, always on alert, as if he were protecting the ranch from an invisible danger. Emily had developed a special connection with the horse. Every afternoon after school, she went straight to the stable, talking to Thunder, sharing her secrets and fears. The horse listened attentively, moving his ears and responding with small, gentle whinnies. One night during dinner, John noticed something strange. Some tools had disappeared from the shed. At first he thought it was just carelessness, but Thunder seemed restless, pacing back and forth near the barn entrance. "Strange," John muttered to himself. Sarah noticed her husband's concern. "Did something happen?" "I'm not sure," he replied, looking out the window at the stable where Thunder continued to move. Michael, always curious, began asking questions about the horse. Bill, the former owner, had told fascinating stories about Thunder's special training with the police. The boy was fascinated by the idea of having a horse that seemed to have superpowers. In the early hours of the following morning, a strange noise woke John up. Thunder was whinnying differently, almost like a warning. When he looked out the window, John saw tire marks near the stable. Something was happening, and Thunder seemed to be the only one who truly understood what was coming. Tension was beginning to build on the Thompson ranch, and no one yet knew what awaited them. The tension grew on the Thompson ranch. John decided to install security cameras after the strange tire marks and the disappearance of the tools. Thunder remained restless, as if confirming that something wasn't right. One afternoon, Michael was playing near the fence when he found something unusual, a small electronic device partially buried in the ground. Curious, he picked up the object and showed it to his father. "Dad, look what I found," exclaimed the boy. John carefully examined the device. It looked like a tracker, but he couldn't fully understand its function. He kept the object, deciding to investigate it later. Emily, however, was getting closer and closer to Thunder. She noticed that the horse reacted differently when something wasn't right. He would get tense, his ears in constant motion, his eyes always alert. "Thunder is special," the girl thought. That night, Sarah woke up startled. She had heard a strange noise coming from outside. When she looked out the window, she saw only darkness. Thunder, however, was agitated in the stable, whinnying softly. John decided to call Bill, the horse's former owner, for a chat. He needed to better understand Thunder's past and why the animal had been so nervous lately. Something is about to happen, John thought, observing Thunder through the window. The ranch seemed to live in constant expectation. A tense silence hung in the air, as if something big was about to happen. The Thompsons had no idea that their lives would change completely soon. The next morning, Bill arrived at the ranch. His expression was serious, carrying a look that mixed concern and determination. John was waiting for him on the porch, coffee already served. "I came to tell you Thunder's true story," Bill said, without beating around the bush. The horse wasn't just an ordinary police animal. He had been specifically trained for high-complexity missions, developing a unique ability to identify suspicious behaviors and potential threats. "He's not just a horse," Bill explained. "Thunder was prepared to protect, to perceive what humans can't." John listened attentively. Emily and Michael, curious, approached to hear the story. Bill revealed details of Thunder's special training. The horse had participated in operations that dismantled dangerous gangs, always with impressive intuition. His ability to read the environment went far beyond what any conventional police training could offer. "He saves lives," Bill said, "not just with strength, but with intelligence." At that moment, Thunder approached, as if understanding that he was the center of attention. His eyes seemed to tell stories that no one would ever hear. Sarah, who was initially skeptical about the horse's presence, was beginning to change her perspective. Something in that story deeply moved her. "Why did you sell me Thunder?" John asked. Bill hesitated for a moment. "Because I felt he needed a new mission, and your family seemed to be the perfect place." What no one knew was that this new mission would be much more important than anyone imagined. The ranch held secrets, and Thunder was the key to unraveling them. The rural region began to experience moments of apprehension. Reports of thefts from neighboring farms multiplied. Agricultural equipment, animals, everything seemed to be the target of organized gangs that acted with surgical precision. During a community meeting, the farmers discussed security strategies with concern. John remained silent, observing Thunder, who waited outside, always alert. "They know our routine," commented Tom, an older neighbor. "It's as if they knew exactly when to attack." At night, Sarah noticed something different, a strange shadow near the woods that bordered the ranch. When she called John to check, the figure had already disappeared. Thunder, however, was completely agitated in the stable. Michael discovered something intriguing. Talking to one of the ranch's oldest employees, he learned that there was an informant in the community, someone who was passing information about the routines of rural properties. "Dad," Michael called, "I think I discovered something important." John observed his son attentively. Michael's innocence could be the key to unraveling the mystery that surrounded them. Emily, in turn, had developed an almost telepathic communication with Thunder. Every movement of the horse, every whinny seemed to carry a message. She knew the animal was preparing something. Bill returned to the ranch, bringing worrying information. The criminals' advances were getting bolder, and something big was about to happen. "Thunder knows," Bill said, looking at the horse. "He always knows." Night fell over the Thompson ranch, bringing with it a silence laden with expectation. Something big was about to happen, and only Thunder seemed to know the true plan. The Thompsons had no idea that they were about to experience the most intense moments of their lives. The tension on the ranch had reached its peak. John had spent the entire day preparing an improvised security system based on Bill's tips and Thunder's intuition. Emily helped her father, moving cameras and strategically positioning floodlights. Michael ran from one side to the other, carrying equipment and demonstrating contagious energy. Sarah, initially skeptical, was now fully involved in the plan to protect the family and property. Around 10 p.m., Thunder began to show different behavior. His whinnies were more intense, his hooves stomped on the ground with an urgency never seen before. The horse seemed to know exactly what was about to happen. "He's warning us," said Bill, who remained on the ranch. Suddenly, the sound of an engine broke the silence of the night. Vehicle lights appeared on the horizon, slowly approaching the property. John positioned his family in a safe place, but with visibility to monitor what would happen. Thunder was already outside, his ears fully erect, muscles tense. The invaders didn't know it, but they were about to face much more than a simple ranch. They were about to meet Thunder. The horse advanced towards the vehicles, his whinny echoing through the night like a war cry. The criminals, surprised, didn't expect that resistance. The confrontation was about to begin. Thunder acted like a true strategist. His positioning was calculated, moving in a way to block the invaders' entrance, while John and Bill prepared the defense. The criminals, clearly surprised by the resistance, began to hesitate. They didn't expect to find such an organized family, and especially a horse that seemed to have superior intelligence. Michael, hidden with his mother, observed everything, with wide eyes. Emily, next to Thunder, seemed to have an almost mystical connection with the animal. "They're looking for something specific," Bill whispered to John. "They're not just common thieves." One of the invaders tried to approach the barn, but Thunder blocked his path, whinnying threateningly. It was as if the horse knew every move. Go of the criminals. Suddenly Bill had a revelation. The device Michael found, it was a tracker. They'd been monitoring the ranch's movements for weeks. John felt a chill. The situation was much more complex than it seemed. Thunder advanced, knocking down one of the invaders without hurting him, just immobilizing him. His precision was impressive, the result of years of police training. The local police, alerted by the Thompsons, began to arrive. The criminals realized that the operation had failed. What no one knew was that this confrontation would reveal secrets that would forever change life in the community. The arrival of the police brought more than simply the capture of the invaders. During the interrogations, shocking revelations began to emerge. The criminal group wasn't formed by common thieves, but by an organized network that had been monitoring rural properties for years. They had informants infiltrated in different sectors of the community, people who passed privileged information about routines and security systems. Bill was helping the police unravel the case. Thunder, permanently by John's side, seemed to observe every detail with an almost human intelligence. "One of our informants is someone you know," said one of the detained criminals. The revelation left everyone in a state of shock. The betrayal would come from within the community itself. Emily hugged Thunder, as if the horse were her only point of security at that moment of tension. Michael observed everything with a mixture of fear and admiration. Sarah, until then the most skeptical in the family, looked at Thunder with new respect. The horse wasn't just an animal, he was a true protector. The investigations revealed a complex network of informants who had been operating in the region for years, selling information about farms and rural properties. The device found by Michael was the definitive proof of this criminal scheme. John realized that his life and the life of his family would change completely after that night. Thunder wasn't just a horse, he was a guardian who had saved them from something much bigger than a simple robbery. The rural community was beginning to understand that unity would be their greatest strength against crime. In the weeks following the capture of the criminals, the rural community underwent a profound transformation. The story of Thunder and the Thompson family spread, becoming a symbol of resistance and unity. Community meetings became frequent. The farmers created a collaborative security system inspired by the way John and Thunder had faced the criminals. Bill continued to visit the ranch, helping to train other rural property owners in security techniques. Thunder was always the center of attention, treated as a local hero. Emily developed a school project on the importance of community protection, using Thunder's story as an example. Michael, in turn, began to help his father implement new security systems on the ranch. Sarah, completely transformed, became one of the main voices in community organization. Her former distrust of Thunder had turned into deep respect. John reflected on the entire journey. Thunder wasn't just a horse he had bought, but a new member of the family who had saved them from a much greater threat than they had imagined. The horse continued his vigilance routine, always alert, always protective. But now there was something different in his behavior, a certain tranquility, as if he knew he had fulfilled his mission. The Thompson Ranch had become a symbol of hope and resistance, a place where family and community unity prevailed against any threat. A year passed since that fateful night. The Thompson Ranch was no longer the same. Thunder had transformed not only the family, but the entire rural community. The horse, now recognized as a local hero, continued his protection routine. But there was something softer in his vigilance, as if he was now truly at home. Emily decided to pursue a career in rural security, inspired by Thunder's story. Michael was developing technology projects for property protection. The family had found a new purpose. Bill frequently visited the ranch, proud to see how Thunder had found his true place. John and Sarah had become a reference in rural security management, giving lectures and training. On a sunny afternoon, the family was gathered on the porch. Thunder grazed nearby, always attentive, but now with a hard-earned tranquility. The horse's eyes reflected a story of courage, protection, and love. "Who would have thought," John said, patting the horse, "that one day he would become such an important part of our family?" Sarah smiled, observing Thunder. The horse she once hesitated to accept was now the most precious guardian they could have. The rural community had changed. Security systems were more efficient, the union between farmers stronger. And it all started with a horse named Thunder. Night was falling, painting the sky with shades of orange and red. Thunder whinnied softly, as if telling a story of hope and overcoming, a story that proved that true protection comes from love, unity, and the courage to move forward.